The show begins with Lucifer Morningstar, a powerful devil who is banished from heaven and ruled hell for ages. Tired of his monotonous life, he leaves hell and settles in Los Angeles, managing his own nightclub, Lux. On his way there, he gets pulled over by a police officer for speeding up. Lucifer tries to bribe the officer and challenges him about breaking the law himself. Initially, the officer resists the bribe, but later he eventually admits to his wrongdoing, influenced by Lucifer's ability to draw out people's secrets and desires. Finally, the officer accepts the bribe and lets Lucifer go free. Lucifer arrives at Lux, his nightclub, where Maze, his loyal companion from hell, asks him about his whereabouts and expresses frustration about her role there. She insists that Lucifer, as the Lord of Hell, should be doing more meaningful things. As she serves him a drink, the atmosphere around them begins to slow down. She alerts him to an approaching visitor. Lucifer welcomes Amenadiel, his older angelic brother, who informs him that God wants him back ruling hell. Lucifer refuses, no longer wanting to be in charge of hell. He questions Lucifer about the soul's suffering in hell, but Lucifer dismisses any concern. He warns Lucifer that God won't always be forgiving, and departs the bar. Shortly after leaving the bar, Lucifer encounters Delilah, a pop star whose career was kick-started by Lucifer. They enter the bar to have a drink together. During their conversation, she questions if she had sold her soul to the devil. Lucifer clarifies that he had introduced her to influential people, but denies any pact. Delilah expresses that success has come with a cost. Lucifer acknowledges that everything has a purpose, suggesting she take control of her life. However, as they leave the bar, they are shot by a man in a car. The car attempts to flee but crashes into a bus. Lucifer, being immortal, is unharmed, but Delilah dies. Disturbed by her death, Lucifer seeks answers and confronts the gunman, who reveals he killed Delilah for money before dying. Later on, police arrive at the scene, including Detective Chloe Decker. She receives a briefing from Detective Daniel suggesting the killings might be drug-related, noting drugs found on the victims. Daniel speculates the gunman targeted Delilah over an unpaid drug debt. Chloe dazes, pointing out the expensive watch on the gunman's wrist as a clue suggesting another motive. Chloe interviews Lucifer about Delilah. He explains that Delilah worked at his bar before becoming famous, and suggests the shooter killed her for money according to his previous conversation with the man. He senses a familiarity with her, and asks if they have met intimately before, which offends her. This prompts Chloe to abruptly end their conversation and leave. The next day, at Jimmy Barnes' private wedding, Lucifer unexpectedly arrives and interrupts the event. He confronts Jimmy, Delilah's former fiancé and music producer, questioning if he wished Delilah's harm. Jimmy denies any involvement, admitting he was hurt by Delilah leaving him for Tu Vile, but denies any violent intent. Jimmy suggests Lucifer investigate Tu Vile instead. He reveals Delilah left him for Tu Vile. Before leaving, Lucifer apologizes and introduces himself to the bride. As he gazes into her eyes, she reveals her secret, confessing she's only marrying Jimmy for his wealth. Jimmy leads Lucifer to Tu Vile's mansion, where the rapper demands to know Lucifer's identity. Lucifer introduces himself, and they argue fiercely about Tu Vile's music. The tension escalates until Lucifer pushes Tu Vile to the balcony and threatens him to tell him about Delilah. In fear, Tu Vile admits he once hit Delilah because she cheated on him. When Lucifer presses for details about Delilah's affair, Tu Vile doesn't have clear answers, but suggests visiting Delilah's therapist, Dr. Linda in Beverly Hills. As Lucifer prepares to leave, Chloe arrives at the scene. One of Tu Vile's acquaintances recognizes Chloe as a former actress, triggering Lucifer's memory about her. Chloe wants to ask about Delilah, but Lucifer dismisses Tu Vile as the suspect, leading Chloe to arrest him. However, Lucifer calmly removes the handcuffs and returns them to Chloe, explaining his ability to draw out people's hidden desires. He tries this on Chloe, but it doesn't work on her. He convinces Chloe to let him assist in the investigation. Lucifer tells Chloe that Delilah used the name Penny Lane at Dr. Linda's office. Chloe verifies this and confirms the information. Before they can go to Dr. Linda, Chloe faces an issue with her daughter and insists on taking Lucifer to her school despite his objections. Chloe leaves Lucifer in the car and goes inside the school. A while later, Lucifer also enters the school and sits next to a little girl who turns out to be Chloe's daughter, Trixie. He doesn't go well with children, but out of curiosity, Lucifer asks Trixie what happened, and she points out a girl who bullied her. Lucifer confronts the bully, startling her with his intense gaze. The girl screams, alerting Chloe, who rushes over. Chloe demands to know what Lucifer did, but he points out that the girl is feeling guilty. Outside the school, Lucifer meets Chloe's ex-husband, Detective Daniel, but they don't get along. They then head to Dr. Linda's office. Chloe questions Dr. Linda about Delilah's affair, but she initially hesitates to disclose anything. Lucifer persuades Dr. Linda, and she finally reveals that Delilah was involved with an actor named Gray Cooper. Lucifer and Chloe go to a movie set to talk to Gray Cooper. Once again, Lucifer proves invaluable as Gray confesses to his affair with Delilah. Gray realizes he admitted this in front of his wife, who is having an affair with one of his bodyguards. Unfortunately, neither Gray nor his wife Amanda are connected to Delilah's murder. Later, Chloe and Lucifer unwind at a bar, discussing their matters. Upon hearing news of Delilah's record sales, Chloe realizes the true culprit behind her death. They rush to Jimmy's location to arrest him. When they arrive, Jimmy holds a singer hostage. Lucifer is eager to punish Jimmy, but Chloe intervenes and shoots Jimmy before he can harm Lucifer. In retaliation, Jimmy shoots Chloe. She confesses she doesn't want to die, and Lucifer reassures her he won't let her. Lucifer confronts Jimmy, revealing his demon form to him. The next day, Chloe wakes up in a hospital with Lucifer at her side. Confused about why Lucifer didn't die when Jimmy shot him, Chloe learns he's immortal but doesn't believe him. Talking about Jimmy, Lucifer remarks that he's been punished. Grateful, Chloe thanks Lucifer for saving her life. Trixie arrives, prompting Lucifer to bid Chloe farewell and return to his bar as things slow down. Amenadiel expresses his concern about Lucifer's actions. He warns Lucifer about maintaining balance in the universe to prevent a potential war between them, but Lucifer doesn't seem worried. Back at the bar, Maze confronts Lucifer for saving a human life, expressing discontent. Lucifer explains he's intrigued by something unusual about Chloe. Maze reminds him of his identity as the devil, prompting Lucifer to visit Dr. Linda. One evening, Lucifer returns to his bar to find Chloe there, determined to uncover the truth about him. Maze serves Chloe a drink, saying it's from the owner. As Lucifer begins to play the piano, Chloe approaches him. Lucifer greets her and questions why she's investigating him. Chloe is puzzled because she found no trace of him before 5 years ago when she checked his profile. She presses him on how he survived being shot by Jimmy. Lucifer tells her it's no secret because he's always been honest with her. He remains baffled as to why his powers have no effect on Chloe. Their conversation is interrupted by a phone call, and Chloe leaves abruptly before they can finish discussing their suspicions. Chloe arrives at an accident scene and meets Daniel. The incident involves a paparazzo named Nick Hoffmeister, whom Chloe knows, and the victim is the son of a well-known actor. Daniel reminds Chloe and Lucifer shouldn't be there as Chloe's on medical leave, and Lucifer's presence is unexpected. Despite this, Lucifer inserts himself into the investigation, questioning Nick at the crime scene. As Lucifer presses Nick for answers, Daniel interrupts them. Chloe focuses on uncovering who Nick was protecting. She confronts Daniel about Nick's potential innocence, urging him to investigate further. Daniel expresses frustration, also wanting to arrest Lucifer for smoking at the crime scene. Chloe steps in to extinguish the pot Lucifer was smoking. When Chloe questions Lucifer about smoking at the crime scene, he explains he found the pot in Nick's car. Chloe is frustrated that he smoked potential evidence. The next day, Amenadiel arrives with an offer. If Lucifer returns to hell, Amenadiel will speak to God on his behalf. Lucifer dismisses the offer, determined not to go back to hell. Amenadiel notices Lucifer's transformation, but disagrees that it's for the better. He bids Lucifer farewell, urging him to consider the offer. The following day, Lucifer visits Chloe at her home. They briefly discuss Chloe's past, including the revelation that her mother was Penelope Decker, a renowned actress in her time. Chloe abruptly asks Lucifer to leave, but undeterred, he goes to see Nick in his holding cell. Lucifer hopes to uncover more about Chloe's history through Nick. Instead, Nick reveals that he crashed Chloe's father's funeral to photograph her grieving shortly after her movie's release, which earned him a lot of money. Nick expresses regret over this to this day. While investigating Robbie's case, Chloe visits his father, Russell, hoping for more leads. Russell reveals there's another paparazzo involved but didn't report it to the police as he only saw the person once. Upon learning that Lucifer visited Nick, Chloe confronts him at Lux. Lucifer explains he discovered Nick is protecting someone, and Chloe realizes it's likely the same person posting photos from Nick's agency online. They trace the latest photo to an ongoing party and head there to investigate. Arriving at the party, Chloe speculates they might recognize someone from the earlier crime scene who could be the culprit. Lucifer soon identifies one of the paparazzi, but he escapes by diverting attention to Chloe, causing a distraction with the other paparazzi. Later, Chloe shows Lucifer a website filled with photos and insider stories created by Josh. Lucifer insists on punishing Josh, convinced he's guilty of Robbie's murder. Chloe cautions they need solid evidence before taking action. Chloe visits Nick next, revealing Josh's work to him. Nick is shocked that Josh would go as far as killing to get the first scoop. He explains how he mentored Josh in the paparazzi world, showing him the ropes and warning him against crossing certain lines. As they reminisce, Dan calls Chloe, informing her that Josh has gone missing. Chloe returns to Nick's cell, only to find he's no longer there. Chloe asks the desk sergeant about Nick's whereabouts and learns that Lucifer took him away recently. Meanwhile, Lucifer brings Nick to a deserted street where Maze is waiting with Josh in her car trunk. They arm each man with a pistol and provoke them to see who will shoot first. Despite Nick's attempts to reason with Josh, Josh pulls the trigger, only to find the gun empty. Shocked, Nick reaches for his own pistol, intending to retaliate. Chloe arrives just before Nick can shoot Josh. She tries to intervene, but Nick fires anyway. Meanwhile, Lucifer calls Amenadiel and slows down time. Amenadiel arrives, thinking Lucifer has accepted his offer to return to hell, but Lucifer clarifies he hasn't. Using his powers, Lucifer alters the bullet's trajectory, preventing Nick from shooting Josh. He tells Amenadiel he's staying to understand the changes in him. Disappointed, Amenadiel leaves as time returns to normal. Chloe is surprised when Lucifer appears behind her suddenly. The police arrest Josh while Chloe discusses the incident with Lucifer. She's confused by what happened and presses Lucifer for an explanation. Chloe mentions hearing the gunshot, but seeing Josh unharmed. Lucifer cryptically suggests Chloe already knows the answer and shows the bullet from Nick's gun. The next day, Chloe visits Jimmy at a mental hospital to inquire about Lucifer, but as soon as she mentions his name, Jimmy becomes frightened. He starts banging his head against the glass wall, screaming that Lucifer is the devil. In the next scene, a young woman is persuaded by Lucifer to leap off a building, landing in a pool below. Later, at a party hosted by star quarterback Ty, Lucifer introduces himself just as a woman attempts to hang up with Ty. Using his powers, Ty is probed by Lucifer to uncover his true desires, revealing Ty's recent breakup and his wish to lose his virginity. Lucifer encourages Ty to act on his impulses, urging him to approach the woman he was previously with. As Ty moves towards her, the woman who jumped into the pool approaches Lucifer. Upon hearing his introduction, she accuses him of being an imposter and swiftly walks away. The next morning, Ty wakes Lucifer in a panic, urgently seeking his help. Meanwhile, at home, Chloe delves into research on hypnotism, attempting to uncover the source of Lucifer's abilities. When she receives a call from him, Chloe heads to Ty's residence, the location of last night's party. There, Lucifer directs her attention to a deceased young woman floating in the pool. The coroner confirms the woman was murdered. Ty cooperates by providing a guest list of 250 people to aid their investigation, with Chloe considering everyone a potential suspect. Detective Dan arrives, joining Chloe in collecting information about the victim, identified as actress Ollie Thornton. Later, they are informed that a fake fingernail related to Ollie was found in Ty's bedroom. While discussing the evidence, Lucifer shows Chloe a video implicating Ty and Ollie in an intimate encounter. Chloe promptly arrests Ty for Ollie's murder. In a desperate attempt to deflect blame, Ty accuses Lucifer, claiming he manipulated Ty into the affair with Ollie the previous night. After failing to persuade Chloe of Ty's innocence, Lucifer returns to the bar and confides in Maze. She reveals there's someone impersonating him. But when Lucifer orders Maze to find and punish the imposter, she refuses. Maze explains that Lucifer finds humans intriguing, and she wants to observe the imposter's actions. Lucifer discusses this revelation with Dr. Linda, who helps him realize his anger stems from his desire to bring justice to the guilty. So, now he is focused on uncovering who killed Ollie. Chloe pays a visit to Ty's agent, Joe Hansen, but Lucifer has already anticipated her move. Curious, Chloe questions how he knew about the agency, and Lucifer reveals he saw a call to the agency on Ollie's phone. Despite Chloe's attempts to get him to leave, Lucifer insists on staying. Together, they interview Joe, who had spoken to Ollie shortly before her death, and admits to hiring her to be in a relationship with Ty. They discover Ty had an obsessive ex-girlfriend, Deborah, against whom he had filed a restraining order. Chloe and Lucifer confront Deborah outside her school. Initially, Deborah refuses to speak with them and heads towards her car. Suddenly, the car explodes just before she reaches it, detonated remotely by someone nearby. Chloe questions Deborah if someone was trying to frighten her by blowing up her car. Deborah denies any knowledge of who would sabotage her, explaining she only avoided talking to them because she had violated her restraining order by attending Ty's party the previous night. Chloe presses Deborah on her whereabouts between 1 to 3 a.m. However, Deborah is freed when surveillance footage from a frozen yogurt shop shows her there throughout the night, confirming her claim. Dan visits Chloe to discuss the case and reveals Ronnie Hillman as their prime suspect in the car bombing. Chloe suggests using Lucifer's abilities to approach Ronnie, as she doesn't typically cooperate with the cops. Chloe explains to Lucifer that Ronnie possesses crucial information that could lead them to Ollie's killer. The plan involves handing Ronnie over to Dan. who will go undercover. Lucifer agrees to their plan. However, upon meeting Ronnie, she quickly offers to solve his problem by catching the imposter posing as him, assuming that was why he had contacted her. Hence, Lucifer decides to manipulate Ronnie for his own purposes. He whispers something to her before she departs. Dan and Chloe confront Lucifer in frustration, demanding to know what he did. Lucifer calmly assures them he has devised a better plan, and they only need to wait for Ronnie to return. That evening, Ronnie returns with the imposter and brings him to Lux. After a tense conversation where Lucifer threatens the imposter named Justin, confesses to impersonating Lucifer to pick up women and get free drinks. He apologizes and begs Lucifer not to punish him. Just as Lucifer is about to take action, he realizes he's overreacting and decides to let Justin go. Maze is disappointed by Lucifer's decision to release Justin. Shortly after, Chloe and Dan arrive to arrest Ronnie. Chloe lays out the charges, but Ronnie denies any involvement in Ollie's death. Ronnie explains that Joe hired her to blackmail Ty into having a relationship with Ollie, which ultimately led to Ollie's involvement with Ty. Chloe and Lucifer are puzzled as to why Joe would need to blackmail Ty. Ronnie reveals that Joe informed her about Ollie's death and implicated Deborah as Ollie's killer. Chloe and Lucifer confront Joe during a rebranding meeting with Ty. Through cunning questioning, they manipulate Joe into admitting he was at the party, placing him at the crime scene, and enabling them to arrest him. Chloe reveals they have Ronnie's statement that Joe hired her to blackmail Ty. Confused, Ty questions why Joe would need to blackmail him. Joe explains that he feared Ty would leave his agency, potentially ruining him. Joe confesses that he killed Ollie. In a sudden burst of rage, Lucifer uses his supernatural strength to throw Joe through a window, but Chloe intervenes before serious harm is done. The police swiftly arrest Joe and take him into custody. In the following scene, Chloe is deep in thought while showering, reflecting on everything she has learned about Lucifer and witnessed him do. Suddenly, she hears someone breaking into her home. Grabbing her gun, she cautiously heads downstairs, only to find Lucifer preparing breakfast for her. He intends to discuss their next case, but Chloe insists he leave. Just then, Dan and Trixie arrive. Dan questions if Chloe and Lucifer are romantically involved, but Lucifer jokingly denies. Afterwards, Lucifer visits Linda, interrupting her session with another client. Perplexed by how any woman could reject him, Linda advises him to regain control over Chloe by demystifying their relationship. Meanwhile, Dan presents Chloe with a case involving a missing woman named Lindsay, last seen meeting with Carver, leader of a pickup artist group hosting an exclusive party. As the club owner, Lucifer is also invited, and Dan suggests Chloe go undercover with him. Despite his discomfort with the idea, Chloe briefs Lucifer on the case, and he agrees to help under the condition that Chloe sleeps with him, which she firmly refuses. Reluctantly, Lucifer agrees, and they attend the party together. During the event, Lindsay's brother Kevin appears and tries to confront Carver, only to be stopped by security. Chloe and Lucifer intervene. Lucifer uses his powers to distract the security and allow Kevin to speak. Kevin accuses Carver of his sister's murder, prompting Chloe and Lucifer to reveal themselves as cops and promise Kevin they'll find Lindsay. They stay for Carver's lecture, but are soon ejected after Lucifer disrupts the event and exposes Chloe's identity. Outside, Chloe apologizes to her boss over the phone for the incident. Her boss then instructs her to attend Carver's after party. Chloe decides to go alone this time. She mentions the expensive location of the after party, prompting Lucifer to suggest hosting it at Lux instead. At Lucifer's bar, Amenadiel visits Maze seeking her assistance in convincing Lucifer to return to hell. He explains his concern over Lucifer's changing behavior, but Maze dismisses it as a passing phase and declines to help him. Meanwhile, Chloe arrives at Lucifer's place to find him naked, attempting to seduce her. She quickly hands him a towel to cover himself. As Lucifer turns, Chloe notices the scars on his back where his wings were once attached. Curious, she asks about them, and Lucifer reveals that Maze was the one who helped him remove his wings. When Chloe reaches out to touch the scars, Lucifer stops her, but assures her the party will still take place at Lux and suggests she change clothes to blend in. Later that evening, Carver's after-party commences at Lux. Chloe spots Carver and moves to apprehend him, but he attempts to flee. After subduing him, Carver confesses that Lindsay is actually his girlfriend and was kidnapped. He explains that Lindsay's captors threatened to harm her if the police intervened. While Chloe questions Carver, Lucifer uses Carver's phone to contact the kidnapper and arranges a ransom exchange for Lindsay. The kidnapper then sends a video as proof of Lindsay's captivity. Before the exchange, Chloe and Lucifer wait outside, discussing Lucifer's identity as the devil. However, Chloe remains skeptical. Their conversation is interrupted when they see Carver heading towards the meeting point. They follow him inside, but Lucifer unexpectedly locks Chloe out. as part of his agreement with the kidnapper. Inside, Lucifer confronts Carver about his presence. Carver explains that the kidnappers demanded his presence for the exchange to proceed. As they converse, the kidnapper demands the money but refuses to bring Lindsay forward. In response, Carver pulls out a gun. But before he can act, Lindsay herself shoots him from behind. It's then revealed that Kevin and Lindsay planned the entire scheme for revenge against Carver. Lindsay explains that Carver had a brief affair with her 2 years ago, and then coldly dumped her, only to reconnect and fall in love with her later. Enraged by the deception, Lucifer moves to punish Lindsay and terrifies her by revealing his demonic face. At that moment, Chloe enters and witnesses Lucifer's true form for the first time. Shocked, Chloe demands the truth from Lucifer. He admits once again that he is the devil and challenges her to shoot him as proof. To their mutual surprise, when Chloe does shoot him, Lucifer bleeds and feels pain, a sensation he has never experienced before. Later, Lucifer meets with Chloe's boss to discuss the fallout. Chloe fears for her career, but to her surprise, Lucifer speaks highly of her, expressing his appreciation for her dedication and bravery. Grateful, Chloe thanks him and offers him a ride home. At the end, Lucifer arrives at Lux and confides in Maze about being shot and bleeding. Maze urges him to consider returning to hell, but Lucifer refuses. He insists that this experience is just the beginning of something new and intriguing that he wants to explore further. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave 1,000 likes or 100 comments if you'd like us to continue part 2. Thank you.